Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, developers and app enthusiasts. Welcome to the Appsmith November Release Jam. I'm Kevin Blanco, your host for today and the Senior DevRel Advocate here at Appsmith. We've got an incredible lineup for you today, packed with the latest launches, features, fixes, and more that will redefine your app development experience. And I can't wait to unveil the incredible updates we got for you today. But before we dive in, let's kick things off with a warm welcome from our dynamic DevRel duo. Please join me welcoming first our head of DevRel himself, Ron. I'm gonna bring Ron here. Hey, Ron, how's it going?
Hey everybody, how are we doing today?
I hope everyone's doing great. I'm doing great. And also, I'm going to bring Joseph to the call, which is another senior DevRel advocate here. I bet you know him already. Hey, Joseph, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, doing good. So, Ron, Joseph, remember this event is not just about us talking. We really want to hear from you. So, please use the chat to share your thoughts and questions and connect with fellow developers. Let's make this a conversation. It's not just us talking. We really want to hear from you and about the things we're about to unbuild. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the different events we leverage for you, all the community. So, without further ado, because we have a lot of talk to cover today, let's take a sneak peek on our agenda for today. So, let me bring the agenda right here. So, yeah, for today, we're going to cover a few things. The first thing is going to be the community templates. So, you can share, customize, and inspire others. That's going to be Ron showing case that. Then, we're going to go over generating crude pages for MySQL data sources. I'm going to cover that. Also, we're going to showcase about the support for AWS DocumentDB. Joseph is going to cover the Postgres data source connection pool size, which is a new feature or a new option on the enterprise plan. And lastly, we're going to cover the upgrade to paid plans with hassle-free and one-click experience. So, without further ado, Ron, the stage is yours so you can talk about the community templates.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So let me go ahead and do a quick share. So folks probably know because of Oktoberfest, we actually have community templates that have been out on the portal that have been available, and I'm going to show you here what that looks like. Can we share that, Kev?
Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen. Can you try now?
Let's try it one more time.
Um,
Here we go.
I'm not seeing the option.
Once we're technical difficulties here, it does show it in the sidebar for me. So maybe I don't have the right permission.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. So you'll notice, of course, I got my my points for logging in today, so that's always nice. On the community portal, which is community.appsmith.com, if you click and go into templates, you'll see the community library. So all of these are things that have been contributed by the community. You'll see Joseph's got some of his good stuff. We've got some of the winners from Hacktoberfest, like Yulia and Aditya and Vidushi, who have their stuff out there. And for each of these templates, you actually can go check them out. When you see, you can preview. This actually pulls up a live iframe preview of the app itself. In this case, it's a recent one Joseph did that allows you to create a SVG powered dice if you want to make a game, which is actually pretty cool. And then from there, you can go and you can actually go to the app itself, which is now forkable. So at this point, I can fork the app. So that's all great. That's all good. But how do we do that? What's the way the process that this works? Well, let me show you real quick here. So in the platform right now, this currently only works on cloud. It will be coming to self-hosted in the next few months. But if you have an app that you'd like to share, all you have to do is go up to the share tab, and there's a new little tab here that's called Showcase. And if you go to Showcase, you can fill out the form, which has some the title and description about your portal contribution. and then check the box and click the button. I won't do this because I've already got that. What this will actually create this template on the portal for you. So you can see I actually have mine over here. This is the one that I shared over here right now. So if you've got a template that you think would be interesting or useful, something you'd like to share, you can share that directly from the platform, which is great. And then it will also be assigned to your user in the portal, so you can go edit it, add some additional information, and share it out with everybody else. It's also a great place to go look for ideas. And as we continue growing this, we've got some other stuff that we announced recently with partial import-export and building block templates that are going to allow us to make smaller reusable pieces. So we'll see this grow a lot more over time. So check out the community library, and if you've got something great, then share it with everybody.
This is amazing. Yeah, it's great that you can share your app within Appsmith itself. Like you don't have to go to the community portal and do everything yourself. You just enter the details on Appsmith itself, and it will share to the community template library. And this is a great way to also make sure that you can share what you have been building with others, so others can also, get the benefit from what you're doing. And this is going to be probably one of the key things for our hero program, which we're going to be unveiling as we continue throughout the following months, right, Ron and Joseph?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, excited about it. We got some cool stuff coming for the community. Like Hero program, we're going to be releasing some more details on that soon. But if you're out there in the community helping out, answering questions, creating content, we're going to be recognizing that, and we've got more details on it coming soon.
That's excellent. So I think we can jump to the next item. If we go back to the agenda we have, we want to go over how to generate CRUD pages for MySQL data sources, which is a new feature or a new capability that is now also supported for this type of data source. So let me share my screen here real quick, because I have a local instance of SQL Server here running locally. And if you want to go and see how I did that, we actually created a post yesterday on how to run MySQL Server locally on Mac with Docker. It's super simple. Go and check out the article. And I've got a database here, which is called test database. And this test database have just one table, which is the one that I'm going to be using for the sake of this testing. And the name is sample data. And I have just two columns, the number and text. So I wanted to show you this so you can see the actual name of the table and the actual name of the database, because that's where we're going to be connecting on Appsmith. So let me stop sharing this screen and share our applications. So now that we're here, I have this November release jam application here that I want to integrate this. And the first thing you can do is you can go to data sources to add a new data source, and you will see the Microsoft SQL Server.
Kevin, can you share the next screen where don't see the app?
Oh, okay. Let me pull that in. Sorry about that.
There it is.
There you go. I have quite a few tabs here. Sorry about that. So yeah, here again, you just go to, let me go back, go to your data sources on the left, and there you will see the add data source. I bet you already know all of this. And then Microsoft SQL Server is one of the officially supported data sources. There you will select that option and enter your host. So like I said, I have one running locally, which I'm using ngrok to expose to the internet. So I'm just going to be using that one.
Which is cool.
Yeah. You can have your own local, expose it to the internet with ngrok, which support TCP connections. And that's it. So my database name, as you remember, was test database. This is my username. And let me find my my password here, because I have it around here in my notes.
Yeah, and just so that everybody knows, that tutorial that Kevin has also walks through setting up ngrok and doing all this other stuff too. So
yeah, exactly.
Kind of a little extra. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So I have my password here, and I test the configuration. and it should work, hopefully. So since I'm using Edge Rock, which is a tunnel throughout a service going to my local computer, that might take sometimes a little bit of time.
Well, especially if you're live streaming right now, that's probably chewing up some of your bandwidth. So,
Yeah, exactly.
it might take a
But
second.
this is also something you can take a look in our community portal, because there's actually an article about how to connect this data source. Let me give it a shot one last time.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to kill my session here, my NG Rock session, so I can have a new session with a fresh. There we go. I'm going to give it a shot right now. Let me stop this. And the URL is now this one. Or now this one. And the password, it should be the same.
Yeah.
There you go. That was
Boom.
it. I'm just going to give it a name here. So this is pretty normal right here. Nothing fancy. I'm just connecting to a Microsoft SQL Server. But this is something you couldn't do before, and now you can. If you go to a page, you can start from a blank page, or you can use the plus icon here to create a new page. And then you can select Generate Page with Data,
Mhm.
which is the CRUD wizard. Something that's amazing because you just select what database, what table, and then you have a full CRUD, just a couple of clicks, and that's it. So this wizard was not available for Microsoft SQL Server data sources. So here I select my data source, then I select my table as soon as it loads. And remember the test database name that we gave it. That's the one that we're going to select.
And while this is pulling up, I'll tell people too that there's actually some work going on right now. Some folks on cloud might actually see it because we're doing some user testing and some A/B testing on improving the flow for creating new pages and using actually some starter templates to give you a little bit more flexibility. So as easy as this is to create pages from data, it's pretty soon going to get even easier than that. And those particular starter templates are also available as templates on our listing page in the platform. And soon we'll also be working on integrating community templates in there as well. So just making it faster and easier every day.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if it's this something related to my NG-Rock connection.
It says that
So
it timed out. It's probably because you're live streaming from your local.
yeah,
Just keep
because
cutting
I
it.
just give it a shot right before the call. So let's just create a new one just to see if that make it works. But if not, we can just go over the documentation so you can take a look at how it is. Test DB. That's what happens when you're live. I mean, this
Well, and
is actually good
that's the
because
thing I
that
always
must
tell people: never trust a demo that doesn't have some problem, because that means it's
exactly.
not real.
Exactly. All right, there you go. It looks like now it is working. Let me call it SQL2 and save it. And now again, we go back to the plus icon, generate page with data, my SQL2, which is the name that we gave it. And there you go. Now it's building
Nice.
database,
Yeah.
which is sample data. That's the name of the table, remember. And here, optionally, we can select one of the fields from the table to become the actual searchable field. So let's say you have a record of users and you want people to be able to search by first name, last name, or email, whatever. You just select that searchable field here. You can later on change that as well on the table widget. And there you go. Just like that, couple of clicks with your working data source, you now have a CRUD. And we can easily deploy this and be able to test it out. So as you can see, here it is. We have two records, which is the ones that we created when I had my database over there. And we have the CRUD. We have the ability to create a new record. We have the ability to update existing records, delete records here, and all of that with just two clicks away. And now that's supported on Microsoft SQL Server data sources.
And I think we've all learned a valuable lesson about the challenges of live streaming and serving a database from your local at the same time.
Exactly. But thankfully it worked. I was really eager to show you this because I mean it is quite a piece of feature, and now it's fully supported on all of the versions of Appsmith.
One thing to note, I don't know, can you share that again just real quick,
Yeah,
Ted?
sure.
Because you pulled it in like that. I don't know if folks can see on the left hand side there, underneath SQL2,
Hmm.
it's the full CRUD. So it's actually generated those queries automatically for us. You didn't even have to manually do those things.
Yeah,
That's just
exactly.
ridiculous. I mean, that's just so cool.
Yeah, it's creating the SQL. Like, this is the cool thing because it's not just creating something underneath that you cannot see or control. It's
Right.
actually generating the data sources, and you can just come here if something needs to change or you want to pull. Let's say you just want to pull certain number to do pagination, or you want to change the update query. You have control of everything. We just help you to make things faster for you, but you have control of all the queries here, and you can also use this as a baseline to create more queries out of this a specific data source. So you can just create a new MySQL query and create the query that you wish.
Yeah, and I'm sure that folks that are watching that have known Appsmith for a while, this is probably like nothing new because that's you can do that for any data source. But if there's anyone who's a little bit newer to Appsmith, or maybe this is even your first time, it's a great tip. It's a really great way to start an app if you have a data source because it does some of the boilerplate stuff for you, and then sky's the limit. Yeah, you can go kind of crazy after that.
Yep. And let me see if I can just create a new. Let me just make it smaller. So yeah, there you go. I'm creating new records, and that's actually something I can see here locally in my workbench. And yeah, it's actually working as expected, creating, pulling, deleting any record out of the Microsoft SQL Server without hustle. We just we did
Again,
it
is running on
in a
your
couple of clicks,
local.
and it's running on my
So
local.
we've created the cloud platform app, which is managing the data in the database on your local system, which is pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool. So yeah, I definitely recommend everybody check out that tutorial if you want to know how to do how to run databases locally, which can be a really great way to do testing, and especially also if you want to, like, if you're going to set up in a production or development environment for your app and you want to share something with somebody else and you don't want to have to go set up another database elsewhere because you've been doing your local testing, you can actually share it and let other people on your team check it out and try it out too. So that using ngrok's a great tip.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is really good. So that's it for the sake of Microsoft SQL Server CRUD page support. Go ahead and try it. It was already supported for other data sources, but this is brand new for Microsoft SQL Server. So if you use that database, make sure to take advantage of this feature because it definitely is going to save you some time. Like, we all have to create CRUD at some point in our lives, and
Right.
definitely this is going to help you to speed up development, which is what Appsmith is all about.
Very cool.
Cool. So let's go to the next item, which is added support for AWS Document DB. Um, so I have some visuals here that I wanted to show you. So yeah, Amazon Document DB is a fully managed native JSON document database that makes easy and cost-effective to operate critical document workloads and virtually scale any workload in production. So, right before going into what I wanted to show you, I really wanted to understand what exactly we're talking about here. So, Amazon Document DB simplifies architecture by providing built in security best practices, continuous backups, native integrations with other AWS services. It's a fully supported AWS database. And to understand the support for AWS Document DB, let me take a step back and explain Appsmith Self-Hosted, independent from the version. This is something really important, but because this is for the self-hosted version. So Appsmith is a turnkey solution, and if you haven't seen this diagram here, definitely go and check out the Appsmith architecture documentation that we have about, and we explain what Appsmith Self-Hosted it is and how it runs. But Like I said, Appsmith is a turnkey solution to build internal apps in the cloud. It's a complete workbench for building graphical interfaces and tools that connect your existing data sources, like we just did with Microsoft SQL Server. So Appsmith is deployed as a single Docker container with a single volume for storing persistent data, and also houses all 5 processes in one image via supervisor D. So we call this the modular monolithic architecture. A single Docker container powers a whole application, making it easier to install. And all the dependencies inside the container are under our control, which makes super easy to make updates and implement new features for developers and make it more reliable as well. So inside the Docker container, as you can see, we have the Appsmith server, which is the Java process, the Nginx server, the real-time server, the MongoDB server, and the Redis cache. If you want to know more about the details about what each layer does, again, you can scan the QR code and that will take you to the official documentation. So, the fact that this is a monolithic modular architecture, it doesn't mean that you cannot split them. And that's what makes Appsmith even more unique, which allow us to run Appsmith on a serverless or a stateless architecture, separating each layer independently to be scaled, secured, and operated isolated. So that's really, really cool. So prior to today, the only NoSQL database engine that powers that Appsmith self-hosting has been MongoDB. But now we are announcing support for AWS DocumentDB. That means if you are running Appsmith on a AWS infrastructure, as many of our customers does, you can use DocumentDB service to power your Appsmith app. So we're not going to demonstrate this today, but I really wanted to show you, for example, this diagram. On the left, we have a standard infrastructure diagram of how Appsmith could be run on AWS. And prior to today, you will have to host your MongoDB instance that Appsmith uses to work in a self-hosted manner outside of AWS, or maybe run a MongoDB version on a, for example, a virtual machine or something like that. But now on the right, we have a diagram where you can easily utilize DocumentDB. In this case, if you want to self-host Appsmith completely in the AWS ecosystem. And that has a lot of advantages because you can scale up the services easily. You can secure them within the same network constraints. So you don't have to make outbound requests to the internet to, for example, connect to a MongoDB instance running, for example, on MongoDB Atlas. So this is great in terms of keeping things on the same infrastructure, making things faster and secure for your Appsmith self-hosted. So again, we're not going to demo this, but for the following 2 weeks, we will be publishing a set of articles around Appsmith Decouple and how to run and configure Appsmith in multiple different cloud infrastructure and services. So that's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. This is something that's been possible for quite some time, kind of that serverless idea. Because if you take the things that are stateful, like the config database, for example, and you move it to an external service, then in theory, everything else is fungible. So when you have to do an update or an upgrade, or if you need to scale up or you need to add additional nodes, you can just do that and it doesn't matter. And we do have some customers who've done this, but it's the kind of thing where you kind of have to know what you're doing. So I'm pretty excited about the fact that now we're going to actually have some good tutorials and documentation and things like that that will make it even easier for us to set up something that's going to be really scalable and secure. And honestly, from a certain perspective, I know for me, it would help me sleep at night knowing that if something went wrong, it was easy enough to just flip a switch, reset it, versus having to go figure it out. So very cool. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hey, yeah, we have Emmanuel saying hi. Thank you. Everyone can say hi in the chat as well if you're watching this live. So yeah, that's it in terms of the DocumentDB support for AWS. Again, this is not support for DocumentDB as a data source, but actually DocumentDB to power your Appsmith self-hosted instance,
Right.
which is even a bigger thing. And now to the next item. Joseph is going to talk about the Postgres data source connection pool size. So the stage is all yours, Joseph.
All right. Let me figure out the screen share here. Okay. And can you guys see this?
Yeah, maybe you can make it bigger.
And actually, I want to back up and show how to get to this. So from your workspace here, your list of apps, if you're an admin, you should see the admin settings here. And this is only on a self-hosted instance, not on our cloud. But when you get into the admin settings here, there's a new developer settings section. And the Google Maps setting was already there. We've just moved it into this new area, the developer settings. The new feature here, though, is this connection pool size. So this is an instance at the tenant level for your entire server. It sets a max connection pool size just to limit that amount of traffic, regardless of which workspace, regardless of which data source. Now, each individual data source, it can be set up with its own pool size. You might make one workspace and a data source connected to Postgres and another one that's Neon or Supabase, and all those can have their own limits. This is a tenant, your entire server limit, just to help you manage that amount of traffic regardless of which app. So there's those separate settings at the data source level. And then here in the admin settings, this one applies to all of those connections, regardless of the workspace.
Very cool. And this is on the business edition, correct?
Right. It's going to be on self-hosted on enterprise for sure. I'm not positive on the business edition.
Okay.
But it is it's just an extra limit. You can have those same type of connection pool limits coming from the database itself.
Right. This allows you to kind of do it globally.
Yeah. And this is just a way to manage the overall amount of traffic on your server, regardless of which data source, which connection or app.
Awesome. Okay.
It was a request from an enterprise customer, so I'm sure it is there in the enterprise version. I'm not positive on business edition. We'll have to confirm that.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So going back to our agenda for the last item for today to cover, we've covered a lot today, is the upgrade to paid plans with hassle-free one-click experience. So Ron, tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and share that we do have a blog post about this, which I will show here. This is, this might sound a little strange at first, but that's why I want to take a minute to talk about it. So as everybody knows, there's Appsmith is an open source platform, and the community edition is completely open source and completely free to use and self-host and do everything you want. There's also the business edition, which kind of builds on top of the open source foundation. And that is where we have some of those additional business and enterprise features. Now, the problem historically has been that people would try things out and use the open source edition, the community edition, to get going. And then once they decided that they had evaluated, everything looked great, and they wanted to actually take advantage of the business and enterprise features that they actually needed, now suddenly they have an issue because they've got to set up a completely separate instance, and any work that they've already done, they've got to migrate over. Not impossible, not a huge, difficult thing to do, but kind of a pain, right? So what we did was we actually have rolled out a version of the business edition, which has a free tier. And so the free tier of the business edition is the same functionality as community edition. The difference is that all of the business and enterprise functionality is there too, waiting to be unlocked when you get the license and unlock those features. So the concept is that for people who are evaluating Appsmith for business, where they are on a path to potentially want or need the business or enterprise license, they can actually go ahead and install the free version of the commercial edition, which they get all the same functionality as community edition. It's the same code under the hood, everything's there. But then when and if they need to upgrade, they don't have to go through a whole other separate process. They can just easily move into an upgrade and downgrade, and all of that stuff works because it's in the same instance. So from a user perspective, if you're using community edition, nothing changes for you. If you're using business edition, nothing changes for you. But for new people who want to evaluate the platform, if they're on a track of evaluation where they think they might want to use the business edition, then we're encouraging them to use the free version of the commercial edition, so that they can start off at the easiest place and they can always easily upgrade. So it sounds probably a little confusing up front, but the good news is that for people who are investigating and evaluating Appsmith for commercial purposes, they think they might want to use it for the business, we now have a track for them where they can get the commercial edition, use they can even get a trial if they want to test out those features. They can use the free version forever, right? Like nothing changes there. For people who are in the community, supporting the open source community edition, where they don't think or don't anticipate that they're going to need the business or enterprise edition, they have a choice. They can either use the free version, which is no problem, or they can use or continue to use the community edition. There's no difference there. So a very small little subtle change, but it's going to make it a lot easier for our users that want to test things out, that want to try the trial, and hopefully become Appsmith users that can help growing the community and contributing more good stuff back, whether it's ideas or community support, or as we saw earlier, templates and all those other fun things.
Exactly. So it's a small change, but big impact, because there is certain effort that needed to happen prior to this, when people were actually analyzing to use Appsmith Business Edition or Enterprise Edition, and then actually jump to a paid account. Now they can evaluate, give it a shot, and whenever they say yes, they can just easily upgrade without having to reinstall or redo anything again. So it's actually a lot easier for all of these different type of customers who are trying Appsmith and actually upgrading.
And and as folks come in, we do have that blog post. You can go check it out if you want more details. Also, if you go look at the pricing page, you'll see how it's broken down. The commercial edition has the free business and enterprise. And then we do call out that we do have the community edition right there available as well. So trying to make it pretty simple. I think we did a pretty good job of that. And we have gotten some great feedback from people like, oh, yes, this is definitely interesting. It's definitely going to be helpful. We've also heard from some people, wow, I wish we had this 6 months ago, because then we could have actually used it for that evaluation as well. So hopefully this is helpful moving forward to help us continue growing the community and helping more people build great apps.
Excellent. So we just covered a lot of things. Just a recap: community templates to share, customize, and inspire others. We can now generate CRUD pages out of MySQL data sources very easily. Added support to run Appsmith self-hosted on AWS using DocumentDB. Joseph showcased how to manage the connection pool on Postgres data sources on the enterprise plan, and lastly, Ron just shows how easy it is to upgrade from a free trial account to the full paid version of Appsmith. Just one click install. So, Joseph, Ron, do you have anything else you wanted to mention, just as the recap and saying goodbyes?
The one thing I would say is this is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. On these release jams, we always want to pick out the things that are the most noteworthy, or going to be the most interesting one to draw your attention to. But you really should take a moment to check out the release notes for all of the releases. There's a ton of little things, small improvements, performance enhancements, bugs that have been fixed. There's tons and tons of stuff. We're constantly pumping things out. So it's always a good idea to check those things out, just to see if something that might be specifically interesting to you, we might not, roll out and talk about it at our release jam, but there could be something interesting there. So go check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is on GitHub. Right now, you're seeing the public roadmap, which we announced a couple of months ago. But again, in the same GitHub project, you will find the actual release notes. You will see all of the different bug fixes, enhancements to the existing features. Like Ron said, this is just sneak peek of those things that we actually wanted to go over the call. But if we go over everything, this is going to be like a 2-hour conversation for sure. All right. So again, I wanted to encourage you to go to the community portal. Everything we just talked about, it's there. The tutorials about how to use what I just show, it's there. What Ron mentioned about explaining the plans and how to upgrade and what the benefits are is there. So the community portal is where the conversation is happening. So I definitely encourage you to create your account.
Yeah.
And there's the point system. So keep earning points, keep participating, because if you earn points, you're going to grow your account and you're going to in the future be able to do even much things.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. This was fun. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Joseph and Ron. I had a blast today, and definitely it's not going to be the first time the guys see us this month.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
All right,
Have a great
bye
day.
everybody. Have a great day. Take care. Thank you, Joseph and Ron, and see you in the next one.